Got some good times knocking upon your front door.
That wasn't supposed to happen. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Make Your Day Richer. I'm Richard Wilmore, and I'm here with the one and only Amy Lindner-Lesser. Hello, Amy.
Hi, Rich. Thank you for
How are
having me on.
Oh my gosh. I don't understand. Amy and I have been working together for, I don't know, 2 years now, 3 years.
So,
And have you ever been on this show before?
never.
Why?
I hadn't been asked.
Oh, well,
And I'm a
there's
good
no
girl, so
reason.
I don't ask other people.
I I guess you needed 14 books and a gazillion podcast episodes in order to get on this show. But well, you're here now and you can come back every week if you want.
Oh, thank you.
Because we have lots to talk about because you're very busy and you're so good. So I edit Amy's podcast called Inntrospection that we'll get into later. And it is about grief and I titled this one "Surviving Grief" because I think grief can just crush you and kill you, and you make it so, I don't know. I don't want to say enjoyable, but you teach us how to move through it, and it's so beautiful. We're going to play a clip in a little bit. It's such a great podcast, and you're such a good conversationalist. So I'm so happy that I get to play with you every couple of weeks.
That's so sweet. Thank you.
Of course. Can you, because I think when people think of grief, they think of death. And there's so much more that I've discovered through working with you. Can you talk about what is under the grief umbrella?
Sure. Grief is a normal and natural reaction or response, an emotional response to loss and to a change in an important relationship. So it's possible to grieve over moving from one house to another. You're leaving something that you loved, hopefully, and going to something you may love, but it's unknown. What you're leaving is the stuff that's comforting. If you change your job, whether it's by choice or by the boss's choice, you're still moving. You may be losing friends because the people you worked with were great. They may have been your social circle. Trying to get pregnant or dealing with infertility is another cause of grief. Basically, they're life transitions, and they tend to be bigger than the normal ones. So that I see our lives as those blow-up clown things that kids hit.
Yeah.
They're not very balanced at all. And all it takes is a good whack and it starts to flip back and forth. And that's what happens with a life transition. We tend to go through them about once every 12 to 18 months normally.
Wow. I thought you were going to say years. 12 to
No.
18, that's a lot.
As an adult. And sometimes they happen one right after another. They don't wait. And that's a life quake. So it's a life transition on steroids. It's losing your job and moving and going through menopause all at once.
Are there happy things that can also cause grief?
Yes. For some people, graduating from school, like especially a recent college grad or graduate school grad, where they're moving out of their family home finally after 20 years. They're going to a new city. They're starting an exciting new job, and it's loss. Yeah. Even though it's exciting and happy, it's loss because they're leaving the familiar and they don't know what to expect. I joke and say that after my oldest daughter started walking, I lost my independence. And what do you mean? Well, I realized when I was in the bathroom one day She opened the door and walked in. I had no more privacy and wouldn't for many, many years. I grieved over the loss of those few minutes I would have, a few times a day to just be by myself.
Yeah.
It's good. Those are happy things. Getting married, moving in with a partner. They're exciting things, but they're also times where there's such a change in your relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You do grieve for what you had.
Yeah.
Empty
I
nest
suppose.
parents.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and all of those topics are covered, I think, on your podcast, Introspection, available wherever you get your podcasts and YouTube. And it really is a great podcast because it opens up your eyes and your brain to what is grief, and also how do you do it gracefully, because it can be so scary and isolating, and you have provided a space that people can connect with one another. Oh, and your Facebook page. Tell everybody about your Facebook group, because I think that's amazing.
Well, I have 3 Facebook pages, really. One is my personal profile. One is, I have 2 business profiles. And then I have a Facebook group
Mm-hmm.
for anybody who's navigating a life transition. And on my personal page, pretty much everything is open to the public. So I talk about my personal grief and how I'm navigating all of those journeys. I've lost 30 relationships to death over my lifespan. And that's just death. That doesn't include the pets that I've lost. It doesn't include big moves, career moves, infertility, adoption, moving my house. I sold my last business, which was an inn, and I was excited about that. And then I moved from Western Massachusetts to Capital Region in New York, knowing only 4 people here, and none of them were friends. So I moved without a social circle, without a support system. Those were all parts of my negotiating things. 2 days ago, I posted, I was sitting at my desk and it was windy and I was hearing a thumping. And so I looked out my window and I have a rocking chair on my porch. The rocking chair was going back and forth and back and forth. And I kept looking, going, is there anybody sitting in that chair? Nope. I called it the empty chair, which is what happens after a relationship ends and you have to go through your first holiday without that person. And what I did was I used to set a place setting for when my husband died for him. And so that was the empty chair. Now a friend said, it's not an empty chair, it's a spirit chair. And I love that because it is. We are energy. Everything in this earth, this world, is energy. And energy doesn't disappear. It just takes a new form. So my feeling was it was Steve or maybe somebody else who has left this physical world who was there keeping me company, just rocking away.
How do you, because you talk about that a lot, about lights turning on in your home and talking to Steve, who is your husband. How do you accept that? How do you go, okay, I'm not like, how did someone, because so many people are afraid of all of that. I once was told that I had a spirit in my house and I freaked out and was like, I have to move. And some people embrace it and love it and talk to them like you do. And I think that's crazy. But how do you accept what is happening around you like that?
I think there are sort of two types of spirit. One is the spirit of somebody I loved and cared for. And thankfully there's nothing scary or dangerous, or, it might be surprising. Like we had an instant when I had the inn that a banana went flying across the dining room. There was nobody around it. It was something silly and ridiculous. And my late husband was a jokester and a punster. So I just sort of looked at the banana, picked it up, and said, "Steve, stop." And that was the only time. There were, however, spirits that I didn't know, because the inn was built originally in 1825 and then added on in 1895. And so I would feel sometimes walking up the stairs at night when the building was empty of guests. I would be like stamping my feet on the steps as I went up, making lots of noise. And I would say, "I'm coming up. I don't want to see anybody. Please stay back." And then I felt okay. You know, I'm curious. I really do believe that energy doesn't disappear. It doesn't dissipate. So, you know, we may not be in physical form, but we are still somehow around. And being able to ask for a message is really cool. I love that I can reach out and say, "Okay, Steve, show me a sign that you're still around." And within a few days, I will see a deer. And I've assumed that that's him because he was my deer.
Oh, I know. You talk about that on your podcast. It makes me cry every single time. Because that's just so sweet that you are, to me, like, I would never ever think of that. And so to me, that you have that, like, you are, I don't even know what the word is, enlightened more than me, that is the connection you make. I love it. Also, when you're looking
I'm older and I've had a lot more experiences.
All right, we'll go with that then, sure. But when you are looking up Amy's website, which is introspection.com, it's 2 N's, like an inn, like an Airbnb, not an Airbnb, like a bed and breakfast, not an Airbnb, because she used to own one. So don't get confused. Also, the podcast. Can you talk about, this is going to be a 3-hour conversation because I could talk to you forever, and we are over. We're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back. We're going to talk about your books that we have yet to talk about, which is why you're here. We're going to talk about your coaching and how people can connect with you and who you work with, and then your podcast. So this is going to be a mini series, I'm pretty sure, with Amy Lindner-Lesser. We'll be right back after this.
Your body is whispering secrets to you about the life you're here to live. Decode the messages about the joy you're meant to experience despite, or maybe because of, the condition that upended everything you thought you knew. If you're ready to make magic and meaning of your one wild and precious life, learn more about coaching with Nona at nonajordan.com. Your body is whispering secrets to you.
Why does it keep doing that? Stop. All right, hi everyone. We're back. It's like, I should probably get a podcast producer to help me.
I know.
We're back with Amy Lindner-Lesser. I want to talk about your books because you have a new book, Divine Synchronicity. Say that 5 times fast. Right here, available on Amazon. Bestsellers. You're a best-selling author. How does that feel?
Exciting.
Yeah. This is The Grief Experience, another book Amy's in. These are oh my gosh, anthologies. Is that what they're called? Yes.
I think so, yeah. They're
right? Yes.
They're written by a group of writers. So.
And what do you love about that? Because I know you've been in multiple. What do you love about that? I don't know why you haven't written your own book yet. I mean, you have, correct?
I co-wrote. I actually wrote, but somebody helped with the writing and collecting of things. It was a cookbook and a travel guide to the Berkshires.
Of course it was a cookbook, because what can't Amy do?
All
right, well,
I can.
Helped her.
I can, but I don't like it.
I hate cooking. I hate it. I love eating, though. What do you love about being part of groups like this in anthologies?
What I love is that it's much easier. I only had to write 1 chapter. I didn't have to worry about how I was going to write 30 chapters or 25 chapters. And each of these it's a collection of individual experiences. So there's such a broad spectrum of experiences. There's a common theme, And then each author writes what fits for them with that theme.
Mm.
So
Okay, so in Divine Synchronicity, what is your theme?
my theme was, I titled it Beshert, which is a Yiddish word for meant to be, or basically a divine synchronicity. And I wrote about all of the signs that I was getting about our eventual purchase and move to our inn. It was things like when we painted our house in Pennsylvania, we used paint colors called Rookwood. The name of the inn that I owned was Rookwood.
Oh.
My mother used to joke that we moved from Pa, Pennsylvania, to Ma, Massachusetts. Our, let's see, what else? We closed on the inn and we bought it using money that my mother-in-law had left to my husband in her will. We closed on what would have been her birthday.
Wow.
Another, was it a coincidence? I no longer believe in coincidences.
Mhm.
I believe that there is a plan. We don't always know it. Sometimes it takes years to figure out what that message was.
Yeah.
And
And
there
then
were,
what about the, oh, yeah.
and there were a few other things that also merged together that said, oh yeah, we should have been thinking about this.
Yeah. And that's why you need to go get the book and read the entire thing because it's so good. And then the grief experience, tools for acceptance, resilience, and connection. Another great one.
Thank you. This book, my story was about my best friend, who was my best friend for 44 years. We met the first day of graduate school, where I picked her up off the ground because she had tripped. And we were friends and talked to each other almost every single night for 44 years.
Wow.
And then she passed away. And the loss of her, in many ways, was more difficult for me than when my husband passed. And it was because a relationship with a best friend is so different than a relationship with a partner.
Yeah, it's all different. And and no matter what you're going through, it's all different. And even if you're going through, you and your best friend are going through death at the same time of spouses, it's going to be different.
Exactly.
You do a lot of coaching. Who do you coach? And at what, because we've talked about this before, at what point in someone's grief experience should they be reaching out for coaching?
Okay. So I coach mostly women, but a few sensitive men who are willing and able to identify their emotions and take responsibility for their actions and their emotions. Not just on grief and death and loss, but on really any kind of life transition. What's important, especially with death or divorce, is that the individual is ready to move forward with their life. And that can be so different for each person. Divorce may happen sooner, especially if you're the person who requested it. If it was put on you, it may be different. With death, if it's of a spouse or even a parent, somebody needs to have done the financial and the legal work first, or at least most of it. Because when you're dealing with attorneys and accountants and insurances and all of that, that takes up so much of our brain space and our emotional space. We don't have the capacity for much more. And that's when having somebody like a counselor or a therapist is helpful.
Okay.
And for me, I need to hear that somebody is ready to move forward, that they've been miserable, they're surviving, and I want to take them from surviving to thriving.
Oh, you're so good at it. You're so good. What is the best way that people can connect with you?
There is a connection button both on the website and on my Facebook page. and just reach out and schedule a discovery call. The other
Beautiful.
thing would be to join the Facebook group and see what kinds of stuff goes on in there.
I'm in that group, and it is beautifully like heartbreaking to read some of the stories that people share, and it's a very open space that everyone's just there to love on each other, and it's such a wonderful place that you've put together. So I'm glad that that's available for people.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now let's move to your podcast, and then I'll get you out of here because I told you this would be 10 minutes and we're at 20. Oops. Your podcast every other week, wherever you get your podcasts, and on YouTube. Tell everybody about the podcast.
The podcast is a way for me to hopefully contribute to getting rid of the stigma of grief and to help people see that there are a lot of different modalities and different ideas for being able to move. So I've had, as far as guests go, I've had someone talk about Reiki. I've had a sound person, and I have another sound person coming on. I've had people talk about journaling and how journaling can help. We had a death doula come and talk about what that means.
Mm-hmm.
I had a funeral director. And then there are my episodes that we never know in advance what Amy is going to say.
That's the fun part.
Yeah, but it's also a way to normalize and to make death a part of life,
Mm-hmm.
and to laugh about the things, because as humans, we are very capable of holding more than one emotion at a time.
Yeah.
So we can
Yeah.
be sad and happy.
Yeah. I love that. Here's a clip. It comes out every other Tuesday. So there's a new episode coming out next week. And I believe this one was from last week. So take a look at this clip. And Amy, it's video. So this is when Amy will probably look away because she has to now watch herself.
Do you specifically pick things to do where you're going to be in control and you're not going to make a mistake? You're not going to be the butt of somebody else's joke? I often do. I pick the things that I can feel comfortable in. And that's something I'm going to work on. I am going to work on not being comfortable in my own skin all the time. And, you know, I have done many things outside my comfort zone. I'm, for the most part, a shy introvert, unless I'm with friends or I feel comfortable.
Or Richard makes me go on his show.
I'm with a friend. I'm comfortable.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay, good.
Even though there are 14,000 people watching,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. At least,
it's
yeah.
just us.
Yeah.
And I don't see them, you know. And it's almost like an actor. It's a part that I play when I'm doing this. And I'm very comfortable and love speaking to groups. So I will do that. I'll come to a group if you have one and talk to them.
She's one of those people that, like, when we're recording the podcast, you could read the phone book and I'd be like, yes, I would like to call that person now. And I always know it's good when I forget that I'm working and I have to remind, like, I'm just listening and I'm in the whatever the conversation is or whatever you're talking about. And I'm like, oh crap, I need to be doing something. And that's usually what happens with Amy's podcast.
That's such a compliment. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for putting this out there for the universe to take in. I have two final questions. One, you kind of mentioned it earlier, with the holidays coming up, and if people are going through, especially recently, what are some things that people can do around the holidays if they're going through something?
Look at what your traditions have been, and then take an accounting of your emotions. Do you feel that you can continue with those traditions with a little bit of a change? Because if it's that somebody died, for example, if your mother died and she was the one who always cooked Thanksgiving or always hosted it, there are going to have to be some changes. If that
Yeah.
doesn't work, then come up with some alternatives. And remember, you can say no to invitations. You can also say yes, but, and the but means if I'm not comfortable at any point in time, understand that I may need to leave. It's not a reflection on you, it's me. You need to make sure that you are the number one person that you're taking care of. You can't do things for other people.
I'm so smart. I just had that conversation and told that exact thing to someone like 2 days ago. So yes, see, I'm learning from you, Amy. I'm learning.
Oh, good.
My last question is, what do you love about your life right now?
I love being so close to nature and out of a big city, but I'm close enough to have all of the stuff that I need to be surrounded with. I love going to concerts and theater, and I've got that nearby. I love that I push myself out of my comfort zone on a daily basis. And I love how much I'm growing and learning, that I never know who I'm going to be in a few minutes. And that I've learned to say both yes when it scares me and no when that's the right answer.
Ooh, good one.
I shouldn't say never. It has taken me a long time to say no. I was raised.
There's so much power in that.
Yeah. I was raised as a good girl who was always taught to take care of everybody else. And now in my second, third chapter of life, I'm learning that I have to be my priority.
Well, I'm glad you said yes to this interview. I appreciate you. I'm glad you said yes to me jumping on board on Inntrospection, the podcast. I love you so much. The grief experience, divine synchronicity. I feel like I always have to look at that word when I say it, otherwise I fumble. All available on Amazon. Amy's website, Inntrospection, Introspection.com. The podcast, all of the things. Amy, thank you so much for being here.
Rich, thank you. This has been a pleasure, and I would love to come back.
All right, anytime, an open invitation. And her dog Hershey never made a peep during this, so congratulations.
I can hear him snoring.
Oh, well, I cannot. So, so congratulations to us on that as well. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back, everyone.
Tired of harsh chemicals in your home? Let's change that. At EcoGlow Cleaning, we bring eco-friendly expertise right to your doorstep. We will make your day richer by bringing a glow to your home or office. For over 20 years, EcoGlow Cleaning has been the trusted choice for professional cleaning services in the Charlotte area. From deep cleaning to regular maintenance, EcoGlow Cleaning offers a wide range of services. All services are tailored to your needs and schedule. Our eco-friendly products ensure a healthy and safe environment for you and your family, including your pets. For a free quote, visit our website at www.ecoglowcleaning.com or give us a call at 704-777-9768. EcoGlow Cleaning is a proud sponsor of Make Your Day Richer TV.
We're back. And yesterday I realized after the show that when we came back from commercial, there was complete silence and you couldn't hear me. So hopefully you can hear me today. Very annoying as the host and producer. All right. What I have to tell you. First of all, thank you for 74. We had 74,000 views and downloads of this program. Thank you, thank you, thank you for everybody who comes on the show and shares it, the people who share it outside of the show, all the support, all the love. I get to talk to amazing people like Amy every day. And it's because people keep watching. So thank you. We're running late on time. I try to keep it under 30 minutes, and here we are. But I just love talking to Amy. So whatever. I'll shut up to talk to Amy. But I just want you to know that if you're not doing anything on November 23rd, and you should not be, other than coming to the Touch a Truck and tree lighting in Waxhaw, North Carolina from 3 to 6. It's going to be so much fun, very kid-friendly, very family fun, and I'm emceeing it. So you should come and hang out if you're near Waxhaw, North Carolina. All right, that's all I really have to tell you, I suppose. Tomorrow, we are acting out of character with John Kane, who will be here in the studio. He has a great nonprofit, a brand new radio show, and all kinds of stuff to talk to. He uses acting to help with life skills. And I think it's a great, great thing that he's doing. He's got a ton to talk about. So he's going to come here, right here in the chair, and we're going to chat. So have a great day, everybody. Go make your day richer. Make someone else's day richer. You've made mine by watching the show, and I love you for it. And we will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.